Now, as we have seen, a special investigation is underway to determine the cause of the Itaewon crowd crush tragedy. Without any delay, let's connect with Professor Song Se-ryun at Kyung-hee University's law school to find out more. Good morning, Professor.
Good morning.
Now, first, could you explain the idea behind the Special Investigative Unit? Under what authority are the police able to do this, and how much power does this team have?
Well, initially, the investigation team was placed under Seoul Metropolitan Police because it happened in Seoul. But as the inquiry went into the failure of processes and possible negligence of Seoul police personnel themselves, the National Office of Investigation took over and put together a special investigative unit. Now, if you remember, National Office of Investigation is a relatively new agency that was created under the prosecutorial reform that amended the Police Act last year. The idea is to separate the power investigation from the prosecutor's office and also create a Korean version of the FBI, highly capable and professional investigative capacity within the police. Now, they have the power to pull together resources on national level and can probe into the rank and files of the Seoul office. But I got to point out that the controversy still remains because still the police is investigating into themselves, the actions of police. So that's why the opposition party in the National Assembly are calling for the independent prosecutor. But then the twist is that the critics say that this is exactly the situation where prosecutor's office should be deeply involved, but the aforementioned amendment removed the prosecutor's power to investigate mass disasters.
Right. Now, focusing on what's going on at the moment, could you walk us through the focus of the investigation? We saw the unit executing search and seizures in a number of different places. What are they actually looking for?
Well, they're looking for what went wrong, but specifically, they're looking into why and who ignored the early warnings, why the chain of command they were reporting was disrupted, whether those who were in charge committed any dereliction of duty. They also look into allegations that some reports are deleted and possibly there were some cover-up efforts. So they are looking into far and wide to see who are responsible and exactly what happened. Now, I think that one of the concern is that it seems like they're looking to people to blame, but I would like to see going forward more about what kind of better system can be put together and what kind of systematic failure or weak point were existing at the time.
Now, I want to talk about the timeline. Investigations of this scale will always kind of take longer than usual, and because it is a sensitive matter. How long do you think it will take for the investigations to finish and for indictments, if there are going to be any, to be made?
Right. They have the massive team at this point. I think it's up to 514 team under the investigative unit. How long does it take? Well, as long as it takes. But given that what happened in Itaewon was well witnessed and failures are pretty well documented, and we're not talking about the apprehending any fugitives, so I don't think it'll take a very long time, maybe a matter of a month or two. But once it finishes, the investigation is turned over to the prosecutor's office. I'm pretty sure that the prosecutor's office will come up with a list of supplementary investigations. So the investigation will not be over when the investigative units initially conclude the investigation. I think that there will be indictments. I think there would be some charges. But I hope this is the part of the process that builds a very, very robust safety measures and safety governance in Korea.
Mm-hmm. Well, Professor, one more thing before you go. In a short term, you've mentioned how this is one of the first National Investigative Unit items that's probably a big incident. So this would be a big test to the separation of investigation and indictment for this country.
Exactly right. The existence of highly special investigative unit within the police was the kind of a premise that the opposition party was going for in the reform efforts. So whether they will do a good job will also foretell what kind of political battle they'll go through in terms of prosecutorial reform and whether that will be a success or there will be further controversial debates coming our way in the future. So it is a very important litmus test for the NOI.
Well, thank you so much for your insights, Professor, and I hope you have a great morning.
My pleasure, too.